Hello.
Okay, so everybody's got to click
Denise.
got it. Everybody's got to click got it. Neil is recording.
That's good.
It didn't
Oh,
come up, but
I already did that.
Everyone, the
I think I
room
did
that-
before. I think I hit it
The
before.
room that
Do we have to
Debbie
keep
is
doing it?
in,
I did it when I first came on.
Yeah, you have to do it again because I was recording when you first came on, and now I
Oh, okay.
stopped and Neil is recording it
Okay.
Bobby,
because he
you-
has the capability to put it onto the have access through the cloud.
Bobby, you're muted.
Mm.
Say hi to us, Bobby.
You're still muted, Bob.
Hey, everyone.
Hi,
Hello.
Denise.
Hello,
Bobby,
Denise.
Denise.
Like your haircut.
Now I see who Daniel is. All I could see was his shoulder before. Hi, Danny.
Dr. Winchester,
I
Yeah.
presume.
you're muted. You have to, there you
What am I
go.
doing?
No, he's unmuted.
Hi,
Great to see you.
hi, Anna. Hi, David.
Where's Steve? Where's our Steve? Stevie Wonder.
You got me, bro. Somewhere down in North Carolina.
I spoke with Bruce Wall yesterday, and he said to give everybody his love.
Thank you.
He's he's in the room.
Right, getting rained on.
So I wish.
Yeah, I know. My son Daniel in Stockton was getting hail the size of ice cubes.
Mm.
Today,
Yeah,
it's
We're in snowy Minnesota.
Is that where you are? Is in Minnesota?
We're usually in upstate New York, but Honora and Murray's great grandson was born. So we're here with our
Oh.
first grandchild, Liam.
Oh, nice.
Oh, what, this morning?
A
A few weeks ago.
Weeks ago, we're out here for a few weeks.
They're trying to, but they can't get rid of us yet.
Yeah.
How much did he weigh?
12 ounces.
Very good.
Yeah.
so
his
everybody
name?
should know I'm putting in the chat Jorge's address.
Oh,
In case
great.
anybody wants to send
Jorge
stuff to
Pineda?
him. Yeah, Jorge Pineda,
yeah.
Judy's
Okay.
Judy's husband.
Right.
So that's there
Oh,
Okay.
in the chat. And I'll also send it out as an email after this is over. And
good,
also,
thanks.
Lionel, remember that lady interviewed us for the story lab or something like that. So she sent a little clip of her interview with Judy, which I'm going to send by email too. So that'll be nice.
what
Very good.
That was something a woman from, I think it's called Story Lab, interviewed Lionel and me, and also interviewed Judy and a woman who taught with her. And she sent me a little clip of that. So I'm going to send that around to everybody as an email after we're finished today.
oh, great.
Okay, so it's 6:01. I'm going to wait 4 more minutes and then we'll get started because
That's
we have a lot
cool.
of people. So if you are here and you haven't let me know yet and you want to speak, send me a chat.
I'll raise you.
Shelley, have you spoken with Jorge?
No,
Do you know
no,
how
I
he's
have not.
doing?
I
Oh,
have not, no.
Oh, Ellen's here. Hi, Ellen.
And
We were having regular meetings and
I'll be right back.
Hey,
hey, Jim. You're on mute.
Well, who did that?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, long time no see, Jim.
Yeah, Patty. I
We
gotta.
Hey,
run
I-
into each
Sheldon.
other now and then.
Sheldon, when we get started, I want to play something to set the tone. It's 60 seconds.
Okay, so again, 1 more minute, just do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is everybody?
It's not everybody who's here,
And
but
no
it's,
Judy.
wait 1 more minute, then we'll get started. I'm sure more people will jump in, and we have a lot of people who want to speak anyway now, so it's cool.
wait, Shelley, do you get news?
Yep, I'm all ready. I'm all ready.
Okay.
Yeah, now I'm going to read Neil's last.
Jim's here. Hi, Jim. Good to see you.
Good to see you. The Rubensteins, everybody. Everybody is a star
Sir,
here. in my world.
Sly and the
Ready?
Family Stone. Everybody is a star. Hey, Mr. Woodyard, why don't you do what you're going to do, bro? Let's get this situation moving along.
I think I got to know Judy best by reading her book.
A note from Judy. For a long time, I resisted the idea of writing my story. Not because I was afraid of revisiting these memories, although it has been difficult at times, I admit, but rather because I have never felt like it was my story alone to tell. Everything I've done in my life, I never would have been able to do alone. Whether it was my mother and father, or my brothers, my friends from school, or my fellow activists helping, listening, laughing, and leading. I have felt their love and support whispering in my ear throughout this entire process, and I hope my story allows them to shine in the way I remember them. At times, I have changed the names of people and certain details for the sake of privacy and recreated some situations based on my memory and the memory of those around me. And so, with that caveat, I share with you my story. Thank you for listening.
Beautiful, Lionel. Thank you. Thank you.
I think that the young woman who read Judy's story captured her essence. And when I listened to it, I listened to Judy. I saw her face. I saw her smile in every word in her book on Audible. And I think that that's a very, very appropriate way of starting our conversation about someone that we love dearly and will continue to love, because she gave us something so special. She gave us herself. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Lionel. So we're going to start with Daniel Winchester. We're going to ask people to keep your comments to about 2 or 3 minutes, but we want to hear everybody, as Judy said. So let's get started. Go ahead, Daniel. Daniel, are you starting?
He's smoking a joint. What the hell's going on there?
Jimmy is typing.
Okay.
That was that'd be funny.
Mm.
So while Daniel's typing, Jim, you're going to be next. So whenever he's ready, it was finished. So I'm going to ask Jim that you get started, and then when Danny's ready, he'll let us know. So please tell us what you want to say.
If that's okay with everybody else.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just asked Shelly if I could go a little bit early here. I'm pretty whipped and tired and stuff, so I'm going to stay on for a little while, but I'm not going to be here terribly long. There's so many through lines that I've been seeing online, and I'm sure a lot of you have, but it is this way that Judy connected people like we're doing right now. But it has just been stupendous to see, like at the memorial service, there were people that had always wanted to meet Judy, but drove 4-6 hours to get there. But they also met other people that were in Judy's life. And for me, over the last week, the solace I've been getting is to continue the work. And the work that really Judy was very passionate about in the last 5-7 years was storytelling. And so beyond Crip Camp, I've been involved with a lot of things to really break down barriers for people with disabilities to tell stories in the documentary space and television, film, and so that all feels pretty meaningful. And I feel like I have Judy around me all the time. It just feels that way. And I guess I'll end with if you haven't heard this NPR piece that I did for All Things Considered a few days ago, a lot of people just told me that it really kind of captured her spirit and also the joy that we have. And so And I'm going to be on another thing tomorrow with Arlene Mayerson from Dredif, Kathy Kudlick from the Lawnmower Institute, and Yummy Wrong, who ran CIL for a while in Berkeley. And it's going to be on KQED's forum from 9 to 10 Pacific. They also have a podcast. So I just want to say I'm happy to be here with you all. And you just don't, no, you do know. So many people have written that they've watched Crip Camp again in the last 24 hours or 48 hours. And it's been, and Lionel and Neil and Denise. So grateful that you're part of all of this with us. And Shelley, you were there. I think we have one sound bite, but anyway, so I'm going to stop talking now, but let's just keep the work going and carry some joy that Judy brought us in our hearts.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So Rebecca, I'll give you a call I'll call on you when we're ready. I think we're waiting to see if Daniel is ready yet. Daniel, are you ready?
Keep going, Shell.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to ask Rebecca, who's raising her hand so politely, to tell you your nice little story.
Hi, everybody. First, I need to apologize. It's daylight savings time today, and I forgot Arizona it doesn't do daylight savings time, so I'm used to being 2 hours earlier than the East Coast, and looking forward to getting home at 4 o'clock and joining the meeting. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me that the meeting started at 3 o'clock, so I just joined. Anyway, it was my my first year as a counselor, and Larry wanted to introduce me to Judy. She had just won her lawsuit against the city of New York. And I remember very distinctly that he said, I want to introduce you to Judy Heumann. And we're walking from the bunk to the dining hall. And right in the middle, he just stopped and he said, before I introduce you, there's just one thing you really have to know. I looked at him and he said, do not ever talk to me. So that was my first introduction to Judy, and he was right. And it's been a difficult week, and it's hard sometimes to wrap your brain around how much she did for the world. It's easy to forget. And I'm just very honored to have known her at one point in my life. And so much of what she did is, directed what I've done in my life. And I'm just, that's all, really.
Great. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Thanks so much for making an effort to be with us. I'm going to call on Debbie to speak for her and for Alan Key. And Neil.
Hi. Well, Jim, I love your words. If you're still here, thank you. It was really beautiful. There was so much written about Judy since last Saturday. And what I really loved was, aside from all of the very factual based stories of trying to get into kindergarten and all these other things, many of them reflected on her as a person, and very worth reflecting on. But what I really wanted to share is how I met Judy. She and I were assigned to the same room in what I think was the old nurses' quarters. And so I get there with all my stuff and I go in, and here's this woman sitting in a wheelchair. She's got this old chest of drawers, and one of the drawers is open and she practically has her face in the drawer. And she heard me come in she looks up at me and she's got something on her finger that she put on her tongue, and she said, I think somebody left some pot in the drawer. Well, I looked into the drawer. I said, Judy, that's mouse shit. And I never forgot that. There was Judy on her finger.
Tasting mountain.
Dear Judy. Yeah, and so yeah, she would always do weird things like that. But I do miss her, and I will miss her always. So this is what Alan Key wanted me to share.
Yeah.
He said, I want everyone to know that I loved when she came to visit me in my apartment in Brooklyn. And he went on to talk about how he lived on the 14th floor and she came all the way upstairs. I said, did you have an elevator? Alan said, yes. So anyway, he said it was really special that she came and they sat and they talked, and he thought it was just, she's such a nice person because she went to visit him in his home. So I'm done.
Cool. Thank you very much for sharing that. That's nice. So Daniel is finished. I'm going to read. He put it into the chat, but let me read it to everybody. So you can do that now. It says, hi, everyone. Great to see you all, especially Shelley, Lionel, and Debbie. My salient memory of Judy was when we awaited accessible pickup to Jeanette reunion 2 years ago. We were chatting, mutually bemoaning that Trump was screwing up what progress had been made up to that time. She had infinite patience and understanding of everyone she touched, often with wry humor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniel. Okay, so let's hear from Abby.
Hi, everyone. I also have a preliminary message from Alan Key, who I spoke to earlier this morning, and he wanted everybody to know that he met Judy when he was 10 years old, and Judy was 12, and they were at Camp Oakhurst.
Oakhurst, yeah.
Oakhurst, and that in New Jersey. And at 15, he had to leave that camp. And so Judy had gone on to Jeanette, and he followed because he knew that was going to be a great place for him because Judy was there. And I met Judy. I was a theater major in college already in my sophomore year, and I had some counseling, camp counseling experience, but never with disabled people. And this was 1965, and I suddenly became a counselor at Camp Jeanette, and it was an amazing world I was in, you know. And Judy was in my bunk, and we became really close buddies. We had immediate connection with theater and musicals, and my wonderful memories of in the shower with Judy, and we're singing out our asses off. We're just singing with Up a Great Storm, and I just adored her. And when she became a real mentor to me.
When was?
In 1965. And I remember her kindness to me, and also her understanding of how to teach me how to do better in what I was supposed to be doing. If, for instance, you know, I had some challenges with a particular girl in the bunk, and Judy helped guide me and help me understand how my approach, how I should, you know, understand this person and relate to her. And she really set me off with an understanding of patience and compassion and kindness. So I adored her. And when we got back to the city, you know, I met her mother and father in their home, had dinner with them. And they were just an amazing family. And the mother, of course, and I hit it off with her strength and her sense determination. And some of it, of course, we know that Judy had as well. And I just want to do a shout out to Bobby Lynn, because Bobby Lynn, I met at Camp Jened, but I also re-met a few years later. My late husband and I had started a literary journal called Time Capsule. And we were the only United States organization. We did literary and writing workshops. And we were the only organization in the UN International Year for the Disabled. The only United States organization to have anything for the disabled. And it was a wonderful writing course, and Bobby took it with Mark Crawford, my late husband, and she, continued to also I wanted to just say that because Bobby is here, and I love Bobby.
Great. You want to share what Alan Key told you also, please? If it's substantially different from what we've heard already?
It meant to be different.
Abby, you want to talk about what Alan Key said?
Oh, I thought I made that clear in the beginning that Judy was the reason, when he was looking for another camp at 15 years old, he had, Judy had gone to Jeanette, and he said, oh, he knew that was the right place for him.
Great.
Because
Great.
Judy was there.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Okay, so let's hear from Janice.
Oh, yeah. Hi, am I on? Can you hear me?
I can
Yes, we
hear you.
can.
Oh, great. Hi, everybody. First I have to say that, I don't know, it's just been such a shock when I saw it online. It was just so shocking. I worked in adult camp mostly, so I don't really think Judy and I, even knew each other back in Jened. But, of course, as part of the Jened family and everything that we were all dedicated to, and I went on to graduate school and rehabilitation counseling, and, we followed her rise. I mean, I knew you were, there was a whole bunch of people out there, Patty and others out in California, doing, all of the work and the groundbreaking that you did. And so just, knowing her, that she, knowing that she was out there and doing that, and of course, watching her rise in the administration, and, was just something I always felt wonderful about. Very interestingly, there's been sort of like an almost kind of, I guess you would say, the circle goes unbroken. My oldest daughter lives in Chevy Chase. She had been until last year living in Washington, D.C. Northwest, and a member of Adas Israel, Judy's synagogue. And I think it's possible that my daughter had a chance, at least in a sisterhood meeting, to maybe hobnob a little bit with her. I don't know if they had much of a chance to converse. But of course, my daughter, chip off the old block. She's involved in trying to make the world a better place also. And so it was very exciting for her to even, kind of just be in the room, with Judy. And I think, too, my husband has said, my husband went to Long Island University, I think at the time that Judy was there, also doing groundbreaking accessibility work at LIU. So, it's always been wonderful to see her on TV. And of course, Jim, the movie was just incredibly exciting and validating, for all of us. And I go out there on Twitter, and I'm always, citing Crip Camp and everything that we did there, because the more the world knows, the better. So I feel very sad. I'm glad to be able to join with you all now, because it's it's hard to, it's such a sudden loss, you know, we really sort of expected her to go on, you know, marching along and not thinking that we didn't know that, you know, she had had any kind of, you know, illness in the last few weeks. So, you know, I'm always, it's wonderful to have known that, you know, she was out there and doing the things she did. And, you know, she'll always have a special place, you know, in my heart, you know, and, you know, for all of us, I know, so.
Thank you so much, Janice. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to call now on David Arno, who has a really interesting Judy story.
Hi, everybody. Obviously, I met Judy at Camp Jened, but also we had all gone to Long Island University in Brooklyn, and I used to visit her quite often in her dorm room, and then she moved across the street to Willoughby Street in her apartment. But a quick story that I have is 1 year after camp, we were together and we were visiting in Brooklyn, and we wound up in Coney Island, and we were at the Coney Island Center there, and she pleaded with me to take her on the roller coaster. And probably to everybody's surprise, and her too, is that I did. Picked her up and put her in the one of the cars, and obviously I sat next to her. And there we were, riding the roller coaster in Coney Island. And I think she loved it. And I was scared out of my mind because I had never done that before. But she enjoyed it, and we had a great time. And like I said, we were at LIU together, and we visited quite often. So she will sorely be missed, and I'll just leave it at that. And good seeing all of you.
Thank you, David. So we're going to hear now from somebody who is connected to Jened through Judy, but who knows Judy very well and hopefully has some nice stories. Lori Bradshaw, are you there? Just unmute yourself.
I see. Oh, Lori, you're muted. You are muted, Lori.
So Lori, keep trying to unmute. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then as soon as I see you, I will stop talking and let you talk. Okay, so I have, first I have a story involving our good friend, dear friend, Jack Geckelman. So it's the first story I have is the absolute delight I had in watching Judy interact with Jack, who called her Hootie Dooman. I was at Jack's house often, and Judy would drop by. We would discuss the politics of the early stages of the disability rights movement, which Judy was working hard to get rolling. After a while, Jack would interject a comment like, "It sounds like disabled in action," instead of disabled in action. Judy initially got all flustered, but then we all broke out into laughter. Jack had a lot of respect for her and helped her whenever he could. So my own personal recollection is of the nice chat I had with Judy in her hotel room the afternoon before she received her honorary doctorate from NYU back in May of 2022. She worked hard to get Tracy and me tickets to attend at Yankee Stadium, which we did. We had a nice visit during which we talked about our memories of people and places in the past, talking about the time I actually delivered meat for her father when I was laid off from teaching for a year. It was relaxed and comfortable. I was impressed by how much she remembered about me and my family. Bill Kozak joined us, and we spent about an hour with her before she had to get ready for the dinner for the degree recipients. We took a nice photo and then she was off to the dinner. It was great watching her roll around the field at Yankee Stadium and deliver her speech to rousing applause. She seemed to be enjoying the moment, wearing her NYU violet gown, cap and gown. And I was so glad she had the opportunity to hear the applause and savor the moment of appreciation. And I'm glad she got a lot of other accolades and a lot of awards, all of which she deserved, and that she enjoyed and had the opportunity to feel the love and feel the appreciation from the world. So, Laura, you there? You coming on, or what's happening? I don't know. Okay, so going to go next to Jackie Rubenstein, who's going to read some comments by Denise.
Hey, everybody. These words of Denise, she is titled, "My First Judy Encounter and Much More." My first summer at Jeanette, 1966, I had a hot and heavy romance with a B6 camper named John Martin. After 3 weeks, he dumped me at the beginning of the August session. For visiting day, my counselor, Marilyn Heumann, had told me John's ex-girlfriend from last summer, Judy, who I believed he still carried a torch for, was coming to visit for the day. She appeared to be one of the last people to leave, being wheeled by Marilyn. They stopped just feet from the G4 cabin ramp and turned as if they intended to begin the steep roll up. Marilyn halted when she looked up and spotted me on the porch. "Oh, there you are," my counselor shouted. I moved forward to the front and raised my head to get a full view of them over the top slab of the railing. "Judy wants to meet you." And there we were, from a safe distance, checking each other out. To my surprise, her features weren't soft in a stereotypically pretty way, but they were striking. Sitting in her wheelchair, she looked petite with a well-developed shape. Her short brown hair framed her round face with its high cheekbones, almond-shaped eyes, and upturned nose. "Marilyn's told me so much about you," she called up to me. She sounded genuinely friendly, even gave me a knowing smile, as if we were members of an exclusive club, which I guess we were, one that didn't include the girls of John's notorious 3-day flings, I suppose. "I've heard a lot about you too," I replied. I smiled back, but I didn't feel like being nice. I still wondered if she was the reason for the breakup and my misery. Thankfully, not much more had to be said because her ride was waiting. Little did I know that decades later, Judy would be the catalyst in finally getting Neil and me together, and then setting the wheels in motion to have beautiful 3-month-old David complete our family, fulfilling my life that went beyond my wildest dreams. Judy, my gratitude for you overflows.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful. So Jackie, tell us a little bit about who you are and who's sitting next to you and your role and your connection.
I am the daughter-in-law of Murray and Honora Rubenstein. Son Jeff here spent his first 6 years at Camp Jeanette after they started Jeanette with their in-laws, the Bergers, in 1951, I think, before. So we had the great fortune after reconnecting on Facebook to go to that reunion and be there when Honora spoke, and you all honored her so nicely soon before her death. So that was very special, and got to meet and be with Judy.
That was when I first met Judy, because Judy was also there that day.
Yeah, and so, you know, we have all watched everything that's gone on with everything that's going on with Judy and Crip Camp, and been along for the ride, and been grateful that you recognized her legacy, and everything that you all and Judy have done has just been very special to us all.
Very welcome.
And on a one more note, another goes around, comes around. My kids both live in DC, and met Judy Emily ran into Judy on the street, and of course Judy gave her card, and they've connected. And then I went to services with my son, turned out to be Judy's temple, and who was the person greeting strangers and visitors that day but Judy. So always with us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I think I see Lori. Lori, are you there?
This is Debbie. I just got a text from Lori and she said they're having tech problems and her good friend Jack is trying to help straighten those out. So
Right. So I see her
hopefully she'll be
now.
joining us soon.
Yeah, I see her now and she seems to be unmuted. Lori, can you talk to us? No, can't hear you.
It doesn't look like it.
No, can't hear you. So you know what? You want to type something quick in the chat and I'll read it when you can? Oh, there you are.
I just read her lips. She said, okay.
Okay, cool. All right. So I am now going to take a minute and read something that came from Elaine Pomerantz
Oh,
in
Elaine.
Israel. So she says, "Hi, Shelley. I am pretty certain I will not be able to join you at 2 a.m. Israel time. So I will just send you some memories of Judy in my life. I have never known a moment in my life without Judy's presence. As a 5-year-old, I remember that my mother told me that she was going to a meeting with Judy's mother in order for me to go to school like other children. I didn't know who Judy was, but I thought she and her mother were very important. I could not have been more correct. When Judy formed Disabled in Action, I was about 16 years old and in high school. One day I got a call from Judy telling me, if you are thinking about going to college, you better come to the demonstration we're having next week.
Hey, Norma, this is
It was a cold, rainy winter's day.
This is final.
It was a cold, rainy winter's day that we demonstrated in front of the governor's office in New York City. When Judy told you to be somewhere, you went. You knew it was important and you followed her lead. She was not only a leader and a mentor, she was a friend. We also had friends in common and went to the same summer camps, Oakhurst and Jened. As a leader of a disability rights group in New York, I attended many meetings and demonstrations with Judy and other friends. At one such conference and demonstration gathering in Washington, D.C., I think it was 1975, Judy, Denise Shera Jacobson, and I, and a few other friends went to the hotel lounge for a late night drink. Judy and Denise ordered a couple of pina coladas. The waitress brought them, and Judy accidentally knocked hers down, spilling all over Denise. After an initial shocking reaction, the waitress brought Judy another pina colada. To everyone's surprise, Judy once again knocked over the glass, again spilling it onto Denise's lap. Everyone was hysterically laughing. When the waitress brought a third drink to the table, Denise picked up the glass and poured it all over Judy. We all laughed so hard, tears streaming down our faces, but I think no one laughed harder than Judy. Judy was always connecting people. I'm sure you remember that, Denise. Is it still wet? Judy was always connecting people, as she knew everyone. When I made my first visit to Israel in 1981, I asked Judy if she knew of anyone I could contact there about accessibility. Of course, she knew someone and put me in touch with him. He was involved with a group of people with disabilities who were interested in making changes in Israel. One day, after I had moved to Israel, I was approached by someone from an organization serving people with disabilities who wanted to know if I knew Judy Heumann, as they wanted to invite her to a video conference which they were organizing. My mother and I were the first in the conference hall, and we were able to video chat with Judy before her presentation. She was so happy to see me and my mother. We had a lovely chat as old friends catching up. The next time I saw Judy was many years later, as she returned to Israel for other meetings. I took a friend to the hotel where she was staying, as she was so eager to meet her. We sat and talked with her as she ate dinner, talked on the phone, of course, and dashed off to her room, as she had to be at a meeting bright and early the next day. That was Judy. She was and always will be an important part of my life. and I'll always hear her in my head and heart. May God console all of us as we mourn the loss of a special friend. With love, Elaine.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
So I'm going to call now on Lionel.
Well, first, I'd like to say I'm so happy to see everyone. And I'd like to introduce my daughter who's here. Her name is Kim White. She's waving. Kim is my daughter through love. She lives in Oklahoma City. And when I first spoke with her, I heard something in her voice and found that for true, because of my Jeanette background, I knew that my daughter had cerebral palsy. She's a college graduate with a master's and works with kids and adults at a center in Oklahoma, in Ardmore, Oklahoma, I think it is. But she comes to Atlanta quite often to visit us, and I hear from her every day. To know that she's working with people with disabilities is very special to me, and we have connected. So that's the first thing that I'd like to say.
I need to interrupt and just say hi to Kimberly, because Kimberly, I've spoken to you on the phone. Hi, great to see you.
I've introduced Kimberly to Debbie and to Denise and to Sheldon. She is truly a part of my life and a part of my family. I think that I want to say about Judith Heumann. I started calling her Judith soon after the premiere of the film. I can't remember a time when Judy was not a part of our lives. I think that Judy set the tone at Jeanette that there was nothing impossible for us to do with our campers. Judy let us kind of push the pendulum. Judy and Larry, of course, and Alan Winters. But at Jeanette, there wasn't anything that we did not expose our campers and ourselves to. There were no barriers at Jeanette. There were no barriers when we left Jeanette and went into the city. We removed those barriers. I didn't know that I carried barriers, that I knew that there was barriers in my life living down south. But when I came up to Jeanette, all of those barriers were dissolved. Over the years, in work that I do, I was in Philadelphia, and I was responsible for transportation for the National Urban League special guest. That was a guest of the National Urban League that I had to take to the train station from the convention center. She was escorted to the car in that she was visually impaired, and she was working in Washington, D.C. Knowing that our sister Judy was in D.C., I said, "Do you by chance know Judy Heumann?" She went crazy. "Of course, everybody knows Judy Heumann." I said, "Well, Judy is a dear friend of mine. I worked with her at a camp in upstate New York in 1970. And I knew that she was working in Washington with the State Department. And if there's a way of giving her my number," she said, "Wait, I'll call her now." She calls Judy. And Judy was so happy to hear from me as if we had just left Camp Jeanette 2 days ago. And since that call and that connection, I never lost touch with Judy. When we were doing the film Camp Jeanette, Crip Camp, I think that a lot of us at the camp were not really privy to the work that was done in California. Okay? The demonstration. I didn't know about that until it was in the movie. And most of us didn't know about it because the efforts of the disabled back then, there was no CNN to carry that. All right. There was one station out in California. And fortunately, Jim was able to find that archival film and show us the work that Judy and the people at that building did. Judy was the bravest and most courageous person, not woman, person, period, that I know. I talk about Crip Camp a lot, but I also say that the shero of our film is Judy Heumann. And if you really want to know her, listen to her book or read her book, Judy Heumann, Being Human. Perfect name for a perfect woman. She'll always be in our heart, always be in our mind, because she loved us so.
Yeah.
I'll have some more comments later.
Let me,
I'm sorry.
Is that Lori?
hello?
Go for it, Lori.
Yes,
Hear me, right?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I'm so happy part of this, you know. I first met Judy, I'm from Iowa originally. I rolled into the LIU dorm and across the lobby, rolled out of the elevator, looked at each other right in the eye, and something went through me that said, you're gonna know her, you know, we're gonna know each other for the rest of our lives. And we did, and within a very short period of time, like weeks, I became a part of her family as well. Her parents kind of had me, Jack Geckelman, another woman, Tony, like they kind of adopted us, you know. So that's how I met Geckelman. But I mean, I have so many memories of Judy. With the COVID, this is the longest I ever went without seeing Judy in person. More than a sister to me. She's like, she's been there every part of my life. I knew her parents. I knew them very well. I know her brothers. I can remember Debbie and I and Judy and another girl, Chris, shared an apartment when Judy was like 21, 22. And Debbie and I were talking the other day, and I was saying how, you know, I feel like Debbie and I trained her a little bit because really well. So, you know, bad and ugly. So, that apartment, she was you know, too much. So I told Judy, all I remember is that, oh, Judy, you ran over me. She ran over the cat. She ran over the dog. She rolled over me, Debbie. She rolled over Chris, who was also in a wheelchair. And it was like, you know, and we were on the ground. I mean, we were firm with Judy at times. But it's funny now because as years went by, and you know, now if I'm down, when I'd be down in Washington, I always noticed in her apartment down there. Before she moved, she would always look around to see if somebody was there before she moved her chair. So, you know, that's just a funny little thing. But I don't even know how to put in words what she did. I had a tumor in my spine when I was 30 years old. I'd never walked again. And Judy was right there. I mean, I just talked to Judy every day. But in my mind, I felt like knowing Judy, I felt like I just said, well, that happens. Judy will plug me in. Judy will know how I can be okay. Even if I can't walk, Judy will plug me in. And just having her as a friend, I knew if that happened, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So it was unbelievable during that time. My doctor even said, "You're not upset enough." You know, he was like, you know, I had her. And recently, this past July, I shattered my left femur, and I was in rehab for 4.5 months. And as soon as Judy found out, you know, we totally was on the phone with me almost every day. At the same time, she had COVID. And, you know, we've just been there for every high and low in our lives, you know. And the funny thing is, it's like, I'm laughing now, but, you know, first thing I did, I sent her pictures in a wheelchair, you know, which made her laugh, you know. And know, I don't know, I'm gonna miss her like crazy. It's just like, you know, just all the time that something would come to my mind, I would call Judy or I'd text Judy or whatever. It's, you know, she's been in my life ever since I was 18 years old. So, I know I plan to visit her brothers, you know, and stuff. So, but it was so unexpected. It was just so unexpected. But I'm happy to have known her and that she was such a part of my life. And most of the names here, I know I've met you at some time or another. And, you know, I'm really blessed that that was true also. You know, particularly like Shelley, Lynn, and I don't know if the other Denise is here, but, you know, all of us had a huge impact upon my life. And, you know, I know a lot of this are about, so we have, you know, we have to, you know, but I won't tell you the bad things about Judy right now. Somebody else's turn?
Thanks, Lori. So some of Lori's words would garble a little bit. If you look at, open up your chat, it's all right. You did the best you could. You fought through the technology. If you look at the chat, she sent a nice little synopsis of what she just said. So take a minute, if you would, to read the chat. And then I'm going to ask if anybody else here wants to speak. Otherwise, I'm going to read Neil's thoughts. And that is pretty much what we have. So anybody else here who'd like to speak? Yeah, Rebecca, go for it. Patty, give me a
I have
second.
one more very quick story
Go ahead. Go right
that
ahead.
I remembered this week. I wish Jimmy was still here because he'd get a kick out of it. So we were all everybody was catching a cold at camp, and Judy made an announcement at breakfast that everybody had to drink their orange juice. And I was Nancy's counselor. And, you know, it's a little awkward being a counselor of someone who's only a year or two younger than you, because I didn't really feel like I had the authority to tell her to drink her juice. And at one point I looked at her and I said, "You need to drink your juice." And she said, "I hate orange juice." And I said, "Well, Judy says that we have to drink it." And we talking about spilling things, Denise. She took the juice, spilled it on my lap and said, "You can tell Judy I drank my fucking juice."
Hey, Sheldon.
So that was a Nancy story as well as a Judy story, but that was one of, after all these decades, that's what I remember.
Very cool. Patty, you want to say a couple of
Yeah,
words?
just very briefly. I mean, you know, as with everyone else, it was so shocking on Saturday to first get Shelley's announcement, whether she had died and then didn't, and then did, and everything was crazy that morning, and I'm still a little bit reeling from even that, and that's only a short while ago. A lot of people that I know, having nothing to do with camp, knew about Crip Camp through me and all. And when the love started pouring out for Judy after she died, unbelievable how many people were contacting me saying, "Oh my God, quick, turn on Rachel Maddow. Oh my goodness, listen to NPR, listen to All Things Considered, listen to," and it was just amazing. As it was when Crip Camp started, I mean, when Crip Camp became Crip Camp, that Camp Jened, which was only known to a handful, but you know, us, all of a sudden was worldwide. And then all of a sudden Judy was worldwide. And though she wasn't unknown beforehand, it's incredible how she became a part of the world. And you know, I spent some time, a good deal of time in the 70s, and visiting her and her parents in Brooklyn, where we lived in Brooklyn also. And Larry and I used to go over to her parents' house I remember watching Roots when it first came on, because that was the big deal. We were all going to watch Roots together, about 77 or 8, with Judy's parents and Judy, and having dinner there several times. And anyway, I don't want this to go on too long,
Go
but
on.
no, that's all right. Just wonderful memories and just wonderful hearing from everyone. I love these stories, and I love that we continue to hear these stories for a long time.
Beautiful. Thank you, Patty. Anybody else want to add some thoughts?
My daughter, Kim.
Greetings from Oklahoma to my extended family, to my dad, Lonnie J. Woodward. I'm honored to be here today. And I send my donors to the family and to all you. Judy was special. She was very special to Dad. And I didn't know her personally, but I read the book. I read up to maybe the last 2 chapters of her book. And I got to know her through her book. I saw myself through her. And I want to thank God that she was a woman of God, that she went and got us out of 504 for us. And she did some good things. And I know, I know you guys through Dad, because he tells the story of the camp and how he loves you guys like family. And I'm honored to be here today. I just called him just to say hello. He said, I said, let me on. And I didn't realize that Miss Judy went home to be with God. But I want to give my love and support first to my dad and to all you guys. Let you know that I don't know you personally. I just pray that one day he comes for a reunion, I can join him so I can meet you guys. It's been an honor to just know him and the work that he does from day to day, and the work that he did at camp for people with disability. And like he said, I do have STP myself, but God has blessed me to work to give back to those that has CP. I thank God daily, because I told a coworker the other week, I said, I should have been one of your clients, but I am one of your person that work with you. So I thank God for being a part today. Hi, Mom. I see you in the background. So I love you all. And my prayers go out to her family first and to her extended family. And I love you guys. Take care. And Dad, I know it's hard on you, but I know that you will get through it. I love you guys. Love you, Mama. Love you.
Thank you, Kim, so much. I really appreciate that. There's another person from my work, my advocacy here in Atlanta is through an organization called Showability.
Yes.
Showability was started to give individuals with talent like singing and dancing, and
yes,
and we give them a stage. She's the president of our organization, Norma Stanley. Norma told me that Judy was coming to Atlanta, and Judy did come to Atlanta. And I thought that Norma said November, and it was the next week. Judy was in and out of here. So I called Judy and said, Judy, I'm going to be seeing you when you come to Atlanta. She says, Lionel, I just left Atlanta. But Norma Stanley works with disability and is an advocate with our organization, Showability, which you can check out online. But she is a parent of a young daughter with cerebral palsy. Norma, you still there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi. I can't get on camera right now, but yeah. Hi, Lionel. Hi, everybody. I'm not the president of Showability. I'm just the board chair, and Lionel is also a board member. But yeah, I had an opportunity to meet Judy at that event that Lionel missed her at, and you know, she was just a little few minutes that I had spent with her. It was so impactful. She was somebody I followed from that point on, and just you know, just reading up on her and understanding the impact she made on the whole disability revolution, and she and her, you know, colleagues within the whole Crip Camp experience, and I just, it was just an honor to just the few conversations I've had with her, and just learning about advocacy and activism, and she was amazing. She was an amazing woman, and you know, her work will continue through all those of us who are dedicated to make a change. My daughter is an adult with intellectual and physical disabilities, and one of the things that I remember at that meeting, it was given by the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities, and that was, she came to speak, and I had asked her, because you know, that controversy or that discussion about special needs versus disability, and she was like, there's nothing wrong with the word disability. And she made it very clear, and she was like, okay. I mean, the way she was saying it, she was very direct about it. And she said, there's nothing to be ashamed of with the word disability. So it's okay to say disability. And so, yeah, she was very, very impactful. And I'm glad I got a chance to meet her the couple of times I've met her, and, you know, speak with her on the phone, and definitely loved what Crip Camp did for raising awareness about people with disabilities and the challenges they have in camp. You know, because I know I had challenges when my daughter was a teenager, and just in the world in general. So, you know, her work was immeasurable globally. And, you know, what we're trying to do with Showability as an organization is raise awareness for people with performing artist talent, and you know, make sure that there's opportunities for them to shine, not only on stage and have access to be able to get on the stage, because a lot of these venues are not necessarily accessible, but also behind the stage. From as Myrna Clayton, who is the founder and executive director of the organization, puts it, from the streets to the seats, behind the stage as well as in front of the stage. So that's really what we're working towards, generating awareness about on a, you know, national and international level. But you know, I wanted to make sure I got on and just, you know, listened in. And I mean, some amazing stories and touching stories. Like I said, she's never going to be forgotten. She has touched so many lives. And you know, she's somebody who inspired me as the mother of an adult daughter with intellectual and physical disabilities, as to what's possible, and that you never give up and you fight for what you want. And she was a fighter, and that's something that, you know, we will never forget. So you know, I'm glad to meet all of you and learn more about what you all do. And I would love to interview some of you. I have a show called Disability World on streaming television, and you know, would love to talk to you about your individual areas of expertise in this space. One of the things that Lionel mentioned is that, you know, a lot of media, that they're starting to talk about the community a little bit more, but there's so much that they don't talk about, you know, unless it's a you know, tragedy or you know, something that's negative. Very, very rarely do you hear all the stories that, you know, the accolades that the individuals are doing in their own specific areas. And I would like to be able to fill that gap through my streaming television show called Disability World. So, you know, just wanted to share that. And thank you for inviting me, Lionel.
Of course, you do, Judy.
Hello, Miss Norma.
Hey, Kim, how are you?
I'm great. Good to see you. Hear your voice.
Okay.
Thank you, Norma. Thank you very much for sharing that. Judy touched everybody in all different ways and inspired everybody with who she was. So is there anybody else who'd like to say a couple of words? Otherwise, I'm going to read Neil's really moving piece.
Okay.
Okay, so this is from Neil Jacobson. I wrote this the weekend Judy Heumann died. She was my oldest, most beloved friend since I was 4. Sister, mentor, confidant, and so much more. That weekend, I was at my computer crying. Since my speaking ability has become laborious and unintelligible, I'm typing to verbalize my grief. No article, book, movie, or TV segment adequately describes the Judy I loved and who loved me. I won't try listing all of Judy's accomplishments that she achieved for people with disabilities. I can't remember all the well-deserved tributes, accolades, honorable doctorates, and awards that Judy received. My first memory of Judy was lunchtime when I started kindergarten. There were 3 boys with similar types of cerebral palsy. Judy fed us in a round-robin fashion. She and her mom organized all the parents in our class and demanded more services for children with disabilities. Protesting was one of the ways Judy got things done. My most memorable protest when I was in high school, Judy obtained buses to transport us from New York to Washington to persuade Congress to pass a bill. Shortly before we arrived in DC, Congress voted against the legislation. My mother adored Judy and her ability to speak clearly. Whenever I called my mom, she asked me how Judy was doing. When I told my mom that I asked Denise to marry me, she asked me, why couldn't I marry a polio girl like Judy? Judy loved being Jewish and insisted I attend services and rituals whenever possible. While living in Berkeley, she hosted lively and overly crowded parties celebrating Jewish holidays. At the 1982 Rosh Hashanah party, stuck in the corner of her small apartment, Denise and I decided to date each other. I can't enumerate the many ways Judy changed my life. Connecting us with our son David is undoubtedly the greatest. Although she is a fantastic communicator, Judy didn't always warn people about what she volunteered them to do. One afternoon in January 1987, Denise called me at work, sounding somewhat freaked out. She had just received a call from one of Judy's friends about a 6-week-old baby that might need a home. Judy told her that Denise and I were considering adopting a child. Hearing that the baby was born on my birthday, I knew Judy would change my life again. Judy is David's godmother. Before my ability to talk on the phone became difficult, Judy and I spoke almost every Sunday evening. She often criticized me for not using more assistance, especially when traveling for Wells Fargo. She warned me that I was putting too much stress on my body and that someday my spine might compress. Although I have no regrets about how I lived my life, I admire her astuteness. In the last few years, I sometimes felt jealous of Judy's energy, continued travel ability, and the many international agencies, TV and radio programs that continued inviting her to speak. Recently, on a San Francisco Bay Area working visit, Judy and I met face to face. She was proud that her work income covered her assistant services costs. I asked her about her retirement plans. She reminded me that, unlike Californians with developmental disabilities, whose attendance were paid for by the regional centers, regardless of their income or assets, Most people with disabilities and seniors who aren't poor must pay their attendance out of pocket. In hindsight, she told me that she had to work as much as possible. This realization revitalized my desire to advocate for new laws and regulations, ensuring that all people with disabilities and seniors can receive the excellent and affordable personal assistance services they need. Attendants must earn livable wages, plus the benefits and support they need. Throughout my life, many family and friends have died. Judy's death feels different, more personal, and like the end of an era. I know the world will continue. Justice will slowly prevail, and someday people will eliminate discrimination. It will never feel the same without Judy. Please give someone you love a big hug and hold them close. Thank you, Neil. And I extend that hug to all of you. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Neil. That was beautiful.
I'm going to play some more Judy as we
Thank
leave.
you.
Okay, and I'm going to put on the screen a little something I wrote. Whenever you need a
Okay.
little dose of Judy, go to her website and just look at all the podcasts. She's there. Thanks,
Then
everybody.
it took many months and a multitude of meetings to organize the protest outside the San Francisco Federal Building. Our work was grounded in an enormous amount of networking among the civil rights groups, involving more people than you can imagine. Behind each name I've mentioned in this book were thousands of others, radiating outward. We had committee after committee after committee. Everyone had a role and everyone had ownership. Why? Because we believed that every single person had a role in producing the change. We knew our success would hinge on collaboration. Our power would only come from the people who identified with and felt ownership of a movement. This is still how I operate today. We, all of us, and especially marginalized people, need to work together. In the broader civil rights movements, disability was and still is absent. Visible and invisible disabilities cut across all minorities. We are African American, Latino, Asian, Native American, gay, straight, transgender, middle class, wealthy, poor, Jewish, Hindu, Christian, Muslim. We can't be select about which marginalized group moves forward. At the end of the day, we all need to be moving forward together, taking care of our families and the planet. When whole groups of people become segregated from others in our society, it weakens the fabric of our democracy. Distance and segregation are breeding grounds for failures of understanding and empathy, and ultimately injustice and the denial of others' rights. If we allow others slowly to become a country where we are simply unable to imagine ourselves in another's shoes, we can't understand the complexity of how discrimination occurs and how it feels. Lacking respect for those we don't know or understand makes it easy to blame inequality and poverty on individuals rather than on the system. Once we're caught up in blaming each other, how can we possibly create a society that values equality? Sometimes it takes a long time for people to come forward. We have to move from passivity, from feeling like we're a lone individual voice, to speaking actively, collectively. When I finally started school and went to camp for the first time, I met all these disabled people who had been experiencing the same things as me. After we'd all been feeling so alone. Why, we wondered, were we being excluded from society? How could we ever begin to achieve the American dream when we were not being given the same opportunities as others? Coming together, we were able to begin to articulate not only what was wrong, but what we thought was possible. When we were united, it was as if progress happened overnight. It gave us courage, conviction, strength. Yes, we might be angry. We may not like some things our government does. We may worry. But we have to remember that we have the power. We are changing things. As Congresswoman Barbara Jordan said, a government is invigorated when each of us is willing to participate in shaping the future of this nation. For we are our leaders of inclusiveness and community, of love, equity, and justice.
That's it.
Thanks very much for picking those pieces out and sharing it, Lionel. That was great. Thank you so much.
That was the end of
Say that again?
that was the end of the writing. The last part that was read in her voice. If you haven't read the book, read it. If you really want to feel Judy, listen to it on Audible, because Ali Stroker captured her essence.
Mhm.
I love all of you.
Love you all too.
Love
Listen,
you.
check out the,
Yeah, guys.
take care. Check out her podcast. And also on her website, there's a link to the memorial service. And as I said, all of her podcasts, you can watch the TED Talk. As like I said, whenever you need a dose of Judy, just go to the website. But again,
One
she
last
has-
thing. I
Go
like
ahead,
to
bro.
close by saying, we've been saying that we were going to do our little Zoom once a month or once a quarter. Let's not let this be the last time we get together, or that we get together when something like this happens. We have been family for well over 50 years. For those who were at the camp back in the 70s. And the family needs to get together and enjoy each other. So let's plan the next one, perhaps this time next month, if that's okay.
We'll get it together. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to leave it on if you want.